So, Annette, we understand that you and your husband are in the process of setting up a new business. We know you've got your career in HR. Tell us a little bit about the side hustle, as it were.
Yeah, it definitely is a side hustle. I think during lockdown, I think a lot of us sort of thought about, what am I doing with my life?
Mm-hmm.
What should I be doing with my life? Is there something that I can sort of monetize on, given that I've got this space to sort of think about my 9 to 5, if you've got a 9 to 5, or your side hustle. And my husband is just like an amazing cook. So for me, I love it. I don't really need to cook. If he's there, he will cook.
And what's your husband's background, sorry?
He's Jamaican. He's full Jamaican. He was born in Jamaica, born and bred in Jamaica. So the cuisine that he is used to is like the hearty food. Mm-hmm. You know, the hearty food, the curry goat, fried chicken, you name it.
I see.
Whereas I know about fufu and stuff, but I don't want to be eating that. I want to be eating, roti and you name it. And so, because he's such a good cook, whenever we have like events at home where people come round and we do a barbecue, everyone always talks about his jerk chicken. So we were sitting down one time, just vibes in, and I was like, you should really do this. You should really take it up. You should do something with it. And then he decided to run with it. So he's the chef. He's got all of the skills on a culinary side. And I've got that sort of, I know the market, how to do the marketing, how to promote the business, all of the boring stuff. So we decided to partner up in that sense. So this was, I would say, a couple of weeks after lockdown. So lockdown was what, 23rd of March?
Yeah, about that time, yeah.
So this is a couple of weeks after, and I said, why don't you start something, selling your jerk chicken and doing meals for the local community? And first we were both apprehensive because living in Biggleswade is not really the thing.
It was my next question. So
it's not a thing, right?
So it's a question that you would normally ask, isn't it? What was the demographic? What's the demographic of it? And what's the appetite for jerk or Caribbean food in Biggleswade?
I think wherever you go, there's an appetite for a diverse takeaway service because we were all locked in our houses essentially.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you'd get Domino's, you'd get the usuals, but when you're locked down for such a long period of time, like you want something different. I don't know if you guys felt it, but like just cooking every single day, breakfast, lunch and dinner became really tedious. So he set up the business, the demographics, it's a predominantly white area, but I think there has been a lot of movement from, especially London, so the south, into Biggleswade, because we're only 35 minutes on the train into London.
Okay.
But how advanced they are in terms of, setting up a business from home of that nature, it's not the thing. There is no other business in Biggleswade that does that.
Gotcha.
So we set it up, did all the food hygiene, all the certification that you need to get, and people responded really, really well. Our local neighbours responded a bit too well, like every day they're knocking on our door. Is the jerk hub happening today? Maybe it's bloody Tuesday morning. No, it's not. So we set that up. It was going really well, really well. The footfall coming to our property was quite a lot also. So what we had to do is just think about how that will work. So we did like a 10-minute booking system. So you come 10 minutes to pick it up. Yeah. But we came across quite a few issues.
So before we go into the issues, I know you've got a question loaded up. Now is a great time to plug. What's the plug? Tell us a little bit about the name of the company, where we can find it. You may as well.
I might as well do it. So we are still in the process of refining the business model a little bit, but it's called the Jerk Hub. So go on Instagram. The Jerk Hub. At the Jerk Hub and Instagram. Amazing. Facebook also, but I know younger demographics don't really use Facebook. So our main marketing platform is Instagram. So that is the plug.
Amazing. You.
So I had a quick question on, so you mentioned that Biggleswade predominantly white, but you're getting more people from London sort of move in, so there is a bit of diversity there.
Yeah.
When you launched the business, initially you had quite a good take-up. It was interesting to understand, was that in line with the proportional mix within Biggleswade, or did it over-index on like the ethnic minority, or was it more white, or what was the...
It was more white. If the makeup of Biggleswade is predominantly white, let's just random figures, I say 80% white. it was the white people that were
Yeah.
buying the food. There's so many that were just like, oh, I had this food back in 2017 when I went to Jamaica, and it was nice to see that there was an interest in a cuisine that they, don't know much of. I'm telling you, we have about 10 fish and chip shops.
Yeah.
All selling fish and chips.
Yeah.
They're a bit tired of it. They're a bit tired of it.
Yeah,
So we're able to offer something different. The flavours are very authentic. So that is good. We know there's the traction there. But the negative side of it is people don't understand, as I said, the business model. So doing it from home, for me, I've used my brain and understood I don't need to pay overheads of having a shop.
Absolutely.
And we all need to do that when we're thinking of, setting up businesses, etc. We need to think where we can cut costs and obviously go forward into your market and test it. You have to test it to see whether it works. So I'm not going to open up a shop right off the back of, I've got an idea. Let me open up a shop and pay like 50 grand a year. So we had the council that sort of came on board because there was a complaint.
Okay.
So who do you think the complaint was from?
I'd like to know, or I'd like to think it wasn't from anybody that looks like anybody here, but I feel as though you're going to let me down.
Tell us more.
I'm going to let you down gently. It was from another Caribbean takeaway in Biggleswade.
Okay. Competition.
That's it. It's competition, isn't it? Because when I sat down and I really thought about, why is another black business coming at us and really tearing down something that is actually quite new? But you can see on social media there was a lot of talk about it. Everywhere I go in Biggleswade, people don't know that myself and my husband are behind it, but they're always like, have you heard of the jerk? Blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of talk. But they complained and said, we shouldn't be doing it from home because we are, we're not paying overhead costs of having a premises, and obviously we do it on an authentic jerk pan.
Yep.
So doing it on the authentic jerk pan, they're saying that it's going to just be too much in terms of it constantly being on, even though we're only open 2 days a week for 4 hours a day.
And did they give any indication as to what the actual requirements are as such that you can work within the guidelines?
See, this is the thing, and this is where I do feel that we should have been supported more. So the council was saying, well, we've had a complaint, so that's it. You can't continue. Whereas I think a lot of councils who are in positions like this, where a black-owned business is opening up, you should offer some more support in terms of doing it, because we as a community, it's very difficult for us to open up businesses because, as I said, there's 10 fish and chip shops and there's already, I know it's a monopoly, but it's hard to break into that. But there should be support for black-owned businesses, given that you guys have majority of the monopoly of the industry when it comes to that. So we felt that we needed more support.
So to what extent do you think that the troubles you've had with the council are because you are black or you're a black-owned business? And to what extent do you think that any business that was trying to open up during that time with a complaint would have had a similar experience with the council?
Well, I would flip it actually. I'll flip your question. I don't necessarily think it's the council. I think it's the council's ignorance of not understanding the business.
Gotcha.
So in London, this thing is it's a normal occurrence, doing a food business from home. You get people to come and collect. As long as you've, registered with Companies House, etc., and done your health and safety, food hygiene, there should be no problem. But what I felt was that, I'll tell you a funny conversation that I had with one of the food hygiene ladies over the phone about this. When the complaint came through, she mentioned that, the complaints come through, you're a beef jerky organisation. And I was like, well,
You're
what?
expanding already.
Beef jerky. And
So bad.
I knew what beef jerky was, but I was acting super ignorant. I said, sorry, what's beef jerky? And my husband was like, no, seriously, what's beef jerky? He didn't know what it was. And then we told her it's jerk chicken, and she was like, so tell me the ingredients that you put on the chicken. I was like, seasonings, and then it's put on a pan and stuff. And then you do, I've seen the menu, it says like rice and peas. Can you just explain that? And so the ignorance just was getting me. But I was like, okay, stay calm, Annette, stay calm. And she was asking, what is in the rice and peas? And I was like, right, there's rice.
That's in the name.
Yeah, we're going to get there. There's rice. And there's what we call like kidney beans, red kidney beans. And then you'd add like thyme and stuff. And I was explaining it to her. And she said, I need to call you back because I need to research this. And I said, okay. 30 minutes later, she calls back and she was like, I don't think you guys can open yet because I actually thought it was beef jerky. So I need to go back and I really need to think about this. And you can imagine like your heart sinks. That would never be the conversation in a city, London.
Sure.
They know exactly what it is, but there's no representation in the council of black people also. There's no representation in the planning teams, in the food hygiene teams, and therefore you are going to get this level of ignorance.
Yeah.